We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they can send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. The man makes you know he can't fucking breathe. The man makes you know we are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. If it's Friday, you're tuned to the only podcast willing and able to teach you how to use the 3 seashells before Taco Bell wins the restaurant wars. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, a show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I've got Slow Bake over here with me to help break down the shit talking and shenanigans, the fight announcements and fuckery, and all the relevant facts that have fallen out of the MMA pipeline since we saw wonderful folks last. Before we get into all the fun and fuckery, though, first off, how you doing over there, brother?
Doing pretty good. Had some fucking rough shit past week. Fucked up, broke the phone. Had to get a new one. We're pulling through though. Glad to get to the other weekend here. Wish the fights were better, but you know, we might get surprised. I always try to stay positive with it, man. I'm the UFC mark of the group, and I'll take it.
That's all right. Some fights are better than no fights, in my opinion, and we definitely have some fights. So, that being said, we will kick things off around here the way that we like to do, with a little bit of news and recent events. fight confirmations, fight fallouts, rumor, official confirmations or denials, relevant things in the MMA world we feel you fine folks should be aware of. Pretty short week, pretty short list rather this week. Not really a whole lot in terms of news, but there were a couple of interesting ones here. First and foremost, coming up to this weekend, we didn't find out about it till just a couple of days ago, but Amir Albazi is officially out of the main event for tomorrow night, and in his place will be Hyun Sung Park from the Road to the UFC, taking on Tatsuro Taira for the main event. Still 5 rounds, still fairly interesting matchup here. Just not quite what we were advertised. And honestly, I'm not really mad at it. Albazi didn't deserve that fight, in my opinion, to begin with. So the fact that he's out of it doesn't really break my heart too much.
Yeah, I
Different
was
style,
excited
but
about this matchup too. I thought at first I was like, why didn't they bump Usyk up? And then I thought about it a second time. 3-fight losing streak. Like,
he's yeah, he's in a
let's
hard
not,
spot right now.
let's not put Usyk in a worse hole because Tyra is such a tough matchup. And then, fucking push him up a week ahead of the fight that he's already planned on getting. I don't know if you got it in your notes, but they did help Usyk out. They threw him another bone. So.
Nice. I didn't see anything about Ursig yet. I just knew
Yeah,
that they
I
had.
heard it on a podcast. It was Mike Heck that let me know this week, hearing on his podcast, Ode Osborne.
Oh, nice. That'd be a good matchup. Him and
Yeah,
Ode
so
would be a
it
pretty good matchup. Yeah,
should be
that's
a
all right.
nice little bounce back for Steve Ursig. They're still keeping him on next weekend's card. So Steve
Nice.
Ursig's not getting fucked over by them bumping Hyun Sung Park up. Just figured I'd
Nice.
mention that. I didn't know if you had heard or not.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear anything about Ursig, but I think that Osborne matchup would be pretty nice. And it's not like Ode Osborne is one of those dudes that needs, excuse me, that needs like a 6-month camp. Like Ode Osborne is pretty predisposed to taking short notice fights as well. So he generally can get off the couch and get into the gym and get ready for a fucking war in a couple days notice. Now he's got here a week and change. So yeah, no, they should be able to pull that together just fine. I think that'll be all right for next weekend for sure. The next 2 we've got here are for 2 weeks from now in Chicago on August 16th for UFC 319. We had not one, but 2 pullouts from that card this week. The first one, JJ Aldrich officially pulled out for undisclosed reasons. So in her place is going to be Diani Barbosa taking on Karine Silva. Not a bad matchup, not a bad swap out in my opinion. The other one, we had heard rumors about it for a while, but it was officially confirmed this week. Um, Movsar Evloev is officially out of his co-main event with Aaron Pico for the UFC 319 card, but stepping into his place will be Lerone Murphy. They're keeping it as the co-main event spot as well. So divisionally, I feel like it would have been a little better for the Aaron Pico versus Movsar Evloev in Chicago, but I feel like if Lerone Murphy steps in and puts up a good match, that's still a good fight for Aaron Pico. And Aaron Pico, if you've seen his social media, has been training with Kamzat for the past week or week and a half now. Like those two are sharing a gym and going nuts training with each other. So steel sharpens fucking steel, and that's a pretty good fucking blade to get sharpened against if ever there was one, especially considering that's the co-main event to his main event. Like the main and co-main A sides are training together leading into this fucking pay-per-view. So I'm here for it. I think it could be a good fucking fun one. Oh shit. Speaking of Chicago, there's trouble. The musical maestro himself, the man that plays all our intro and outro tunes, Mr. Pillow Cheeks, was having a cam. Moving forward here, couple weeks. September 6th, the UFC Paris card got an interesting one added to it here. Seems like, I mean, they generally move as a pack in general, but it looks like the UFC is trying to put the entire Fighting Nerds crew on that UFC Paris card because we've got Baralio, and now we've also got Mauricio Hufi taking on Benoit Saint Denis on that Paris card as well. So we all kind of knew that they were looking for a way to bring VSD back to Paris to kind of try and get a little redemption from that fucking Poirier fight. But I think this would be a good matchup too. And it's cool that the UFC is actually booking all the Fighting Nerds on a card to try and save them a little bit of money because they, like I said, they fly as a pack, they travel as a pack. all over the world anyway. So getting more of them on the same card over in Paris, I don't think is a bad idea in the least. Let's see, couple weeks after that, September 27th, UFC Perth got its official main event. It will be Carlos Ulberg versus Dominic Reyes. Now, interestingly enough, during the course of finding that out, we also found out that we might not have the Dan Hooker fight on that card as well, because Dan Hooker got into a kerfuffle with the UFC a couple weeks back when he was supposed to come watch Kai Kara France fight for the title in Las Vegas. Apparently, UFC booked him for a showing at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and he didn't make it, and they canceled his tickets to the fight. So he said, well, if you're going to cancel my tickets to the fight, then I'm not going to fight injured because I'm not fully healed yet. But because you were coming to Perth, I was going to do the company a favor and fight while I was still hurt. Now I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to pull out of the UFC Perth fight as well. Nothing officially confirmed on that, but kind of a shitty situation all the way around for that side of it. Interesting main event. I think Ulberg versus Reyes could be a fun main event down in Perth, but we'll see what happens as a whole as we get a little closer to that card. Week after Paris, UFC comes back to Las Vegas for UFC 320. Interesting fight added to that one. Atiba Gautier taking on Ozzy Diaz. That could be very fun. Excuse me. And then two more quick little pieces of news here. We've talked about it here on the show for quite a while. After she won the belt, it was all but fucking set in stone, and they have announced it officially this week. Bia Mesquita has officially gone from the LFA to the UFC. She has signed with the UFC and will be making her debut October 11th in Rio de Janeiro against Irina Alekseeva. Not necessarily the best matchup, but it'll be interesting because Alekseeva is primarily a striker. Bea Mesquita is basically a jiu-jitsu girl with a little bit of striking, so could be an interesting matchup for a debut at least. And they're going to do it in Brazil, in Rio, so you know the hometown crowd is going to be cheering for her. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. Last one we have got for me here. Excuse me. It is official. Conor McGregor is back in the UFC testing pool. He has submitted successfully his first set of blood and urine tests. He is officially back in the testing pool. Now, that doesn't give us any kind of a timeline as to when he is actually going to potentially get back into the cage. That just means that as of now, 6 months from now, provided all samples come back clean, Conor McGregor could potentially officially be eligible to actually take a fight, not just talk about it. So we're halfway through the year. That looks like a December pay-per-view, maybe beginning of the year 2026. The wheels are officially in motion. Whether we go anywhere or not is another story, but the wheels are officially in motion. That is all I have got over here. You got anything else over there that I might have missed this week?
Did you mention about Budai?
No, I didn't. I forgot to mention Martin
Yeah,
Boudet. Yeah.
I thought I might have just not heard you, but that
Yeah,
surprised the
no.
hell with them having like 25 dudes on the heavyweight roster. Even if that was a boring ass fight, I was surprised as shit. I know they just didn't re-sign him; they didn't just straight up
Right.
release him.
Yeah, the UFC has opted not to re-sign Martin Boudet. They announce it the week after he spoils the fucking debut of Marcus Buchecha over in Abu Dhabi, and he's 7-1 in the UFC as a fucking heavyweight. The thinnest division, even thinner in my opinion than women's 145. Men's heavyweight, they've got a 7-1 fucking contender who just spoiled a big name coming over to the UFC and showed that UFC talent is still higher than that, and they opted not to fucking re-sign him. Like, I
And
don't
one of the
think Martin
new
Boudet
guys
was
they
making.
signed recently, Ante Delija, he's fucking one of Tom's friends again. So he
Yeah.
works his way up. He's not going to fight Tom.
Oh no, it's going to be
So
a fucking Aljo and Marab situation at fucking heavyweight here, because fucking Ante is not going to fight Tom for sure. And now we're losing fucking Martin Boudet, and Puchecha came in and just shit the bed right out the gate. Like, having Tom active is a good thing, but how many fucking people is there for him to fight when they're doing shit like this, cutting dudes who run a 7-1 fucking run and could have been a potential contender for fucking Tom? But no, fucking
Yeah,
UFC's gonna UFC.
weird and questionable shit. I did see a matchup though that I was interested to. The prospects I've kind of touted for a few little minutes here. Trey Waters is taking on Sam Patterson on that Paris card.
Interesting.
I saw that this week, and I was like, that's an interesting one. I think Trey's going to take that, but Sam Patterson being on a 3-fight win
I'll
streak
say
here, all by
Patterson's
finish at this
doing
point, yeah,
yeah, Patterson's doing pretty good work on his own
I
over there.
think
So that
that'll
could
be
be
a
an
fun
interesting
little
match.
scrap. So
Yeah, that could be a fun little fucking scrap
just
for
knowing the
sure.
segment that I run, I had to throw that one out there when I saw that.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, no, and it's weird because it's not like Martin Boudet is one of those names where you can just assume that he's making $500,000 a fight. Like, I'm pretty sure he's barely, if at all, touching a six-figure contract for win and show bonus. I think last time he had actually talked about it, he was on like a 96 and 96 contract. He still wasn't even making $100,000 per fucking fight yet. So it's not like he's a Derek Lewis or a fucking, another big name dude pulling in heavy fucking figures. And it's not like he fights that often either, even if he did have a big contract, price tag attached to him. So no, just the UFC letting him go just seemed like a weird thing, especially in a time where they want more heavyweights to try and help fluff that fucking division once again. But UFC's gonna UFC. What? That being said, that'll bring us to the point here where if you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have been watching combat sports, you start to learn what you like to watch and when it comes on and how to watch it. And after so long of that routine, you start to develop a set of blinders, if you will, and you start to lose the forest for the trees. Well, luckily for us here on the show, we've got ourselves a bona fide young person who's out there ever so diligently and ever so delicately fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they are names in a segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. So, like I always start off, you gotta start off with the trash, get that shit out of here. One of the first fights of the night, I know it's not the first fight, but Nick Klein and Andre Puliev. I gotta throw both these guys in the garbage. I think Nick Klein's clearly the worst fighter here, but I don't think we're gonna get anything too spectacular out of this fight. Puliev takes the win like I think he's gonna. I don't think we're getting any finish or we're gonna see anything too special out of him in the future. So just toss them both in there, get it done and over with. And another fight. I've been trying to root for this kid. Like I've talked about Brian Battle for the past couple of years now, since that season of The Ultimate Fighter. I like Trayshawn Gore as a human being. It's hard to root for the kid as a fighter. And this week is one of the big reasons. He's looked good in his last couple of fights, man. He's been getting some standing guillotines in there. They give me a reason to try to talk about you in a positive light, and then you miss weight by almost 4 pounds, and I don't even know if the fight's actually going to go on. He's had injury problems since that Ultimate Fighter season. It is going. So I would assume Estevam as well is going to have his fight, unless the opponent said fuck off with it.
Yeah, no, I checked that just a little while ago. Both fights are carrying on as catch weights, and
Yeah,
both dudes are giving up 25% of their purse. Two fucking weight misses by 4 fucking pounds plus.
yeah, it's bad. It's bad luck. So even if Trayshawn gets another win, even if he goes out and gets a finish, that'd be like three in a row, all by finish. That's all well and good, but you gotta make weight. Um, it's just bad. It's bad luck. And Adolfo Vieira, he's just on the older side of things. The dude's only had a baker's dozen fights throughout his career. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. He's not bad, but he's also shown he's got problems with the gas tank. That's where just throw this fight as a whole in there. Because if Vieira lets Trayshawn win the fight, that's a bad look on him. Just the same as the weight miss for Trayshawn's bad luck. As TJ would say, the whole thing's a shit show. You got to throw this fight in there. I like Trayshawn as a person. He's always touting his religion and touting his family. He seems like a very good human being, and he's had a rough ass story and upcoming in life. And you want to root for those kinds of guys, man. Just like that was really the last season of Ultimate Fighter I actually watched. That's the only reason I like those kids. They're blue collar kids. Him and Brian, blue collar kids with decent stories. Lost some family members, had reasons to do what they're doing. You try to root for those kids. And Brian Battles, same thing though, man. He finally has himself a decent fight against Randy Brown. He misses fucking weight, and then he also kind of shits the bed in the fight and gets himself a lucky nod with the decision. Like most of us thought Randy won that one. And look at where Randy's at after the fact. Like Randy's the one closer to the rankings even after that fight because he's gotten his ass back in there. I do think Brian's got a tough one coming up. He gets that win. That's good for him. But it's just, you got to be honest here. Amir Albazi was in the trash for me before he pulled out this weekend. So he threw himself in the trash for me. That is the hilarious, man. That just tickled me pink this week. I put that, even if he was in the main event, put that kid in the garbage, and he tossed himself out for me. Felipe Buenas, I got to throw him in there. And then at the same point, you kind of want to, like, I had Rafael Estevam in my contenders, but it's the same thing. Now you just put yourself on the fence. Kid's 28 years old, and he's undefeated, 13-0. He's looked pretty decent since he's coming to the UFC, but he's been inactive. He's not very active. He doesn't fight very often, missing the weight, especially missing it that big. Not a good look, especially for flyweight. You can't be doing that. So he's kind of on the fence now, in my opinion. But Buenas, he's definitely a can. That should have been an easy layup fight. Estevam made himself look bad there. I would put, oh, geez. Excuse me. Ooh. I would put the fight as a whole with the two old dudes, Neil Magny and Eliza Zaleski dos Santos. It could be fun. It's the right matchmaking. Both of them are on the old side, back into their career. This is Neil's 35th fight, so all respect in the world to Neil, obviously, but he's been get or get got his whole career. It just is what it is. The fight as a whole is probably not going to be the greatest thing. It's the best thing we can hope for is two veterans slug it out. Like, you see two old guys that aren't as fast as they used to be, then maybe slug it out. We might get a finish. Unlikely. Just kind of toss that away. And Pierre Rodriguez. So throw her in the trash, not because she doesn't have the potential. She's shown that she's got potential to be a name, like, but she's ruined it because she's a dirty fucking fighter. She cheats, I mean, multiple times. We've seen her do almost damn near everything in the world cheating wise. She's grabbed on girls' shorts, grabbed on girls' gloves, grabbed on the fence. Literally lost her last fight to disqualification by headbutting her opponent multiple times. Headbutted her opponent the one time being in the mount. She gets warned and immediately does the shit again. I don't care if there's a language barrier there or not. There's been a lot of bad looks for her, and I just got to throw you in the trash. She's probably going to win this weekend. She has potential to bounce her way back in the rankings, but I don't care. It's mixed martial arts. We see dudes like Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway do what they did a few weeks ago, go to war, show ultimate respect. Even their children are showing each other respect after the fact. You no, can't have it. I can't stand it. That's why I've lost all respect for Connor a long time ago. It's one thing to shit talk. It's one thing to be confident in yourself. You got to show somewhat of respect, in my opinion. When you do not do that, you get the fuck out of here. The cheating thing, we all know you can get away with it, right? Like, even everybody in the MMA sphere says it all the time. The refs aren't going to do anything about it, so go right ahead and do it. But it's the specific ones like headbutts, grabbing gloves, grabbing on shorts. Those ones are real dirty plays that I can't get by. It's one thing if you do get an accidental low blow or somebody grabs a hold of the fence. the least infringing, penalty you could have. But she's been bad. The on the fence shit though, Ketlin Souza, I think she could have some potential, but she's looked rough. So she's kind of one of my contenders this week. I just feel like she could bounce back. She's shown some decent moments. This would be that moment this weekend, in my opinion. Like I said, she's fighting dirty bitch, and a lot of fans don't like her at this point. You beat her. She's shown that she's got some talent. It'd be a decent bounce back, maybe help build her confidence. Good see. We need some things to start sparking up in those ladies' divisions. So I'll at least give her that chance to bounce back. Austin Bashy, though, is my true contender on this card. I want to see what that 23-year-old kid can do after taking his first loss. I hyped him up a lot coming off the contender series. Kid's a real damn good grappler, but he looked extremely green and gun shy in his debut against Christian Rodriguez, who himself is really just a grappler. He's not really a striker, and the kid's not that great. He's just gotten himself a handful of wins against cans in the UFC. I want to see Austin Bashy get a bounce back. I'm really fucking bummed out. Francis Marshall had to pull out of that fight because that original matchup of Austin getting Francis Marshall was fire. Like Francis Marshall is nicknamed Fireman. It would have been a fire matchup. I've talked about Francis for the past couple of years. Kid's been tough as hell. He's had a rough couple of losses lately, but that would have been a fun fight and a hell of a test for Bashy. They were not giving him an easy bounce back, but because of Marshall having to pull out, now he is getting an easy bounce back. Kid that's toughest fight is like Nick Aguirre, who we saw kind of get in the UFC for a minute, and his kid got his ass whooped. He's kind of trash, and he has a horrible fucking nickname. I can't remember what it is at this moment. It is some bullshit, what do you call it? Fucking something like Inferno. I can't remember. It was some gay ass shit revolved around fire. I think. I know that kid had a shitty nickname. That's all I can remember. We'll see if Bashy can bounce back though. True contenders. Biggest one for me is Kevin Vallejos. I talk really highly about this kid. He's only lost the one fight in his career, and that's to Gian Silva on the Contender Series. Kid's first shot at the Contender Series, he lost a decision to Gian Silva. And look at where Gian is in the fucking UFC at this point. Everything else, that kid has literally just been laying people out throughout his career. He's already fought 16 times as a professional. He's 23 fucking years old. I think this kid has serious potential to go far. I've talked about quite a few guys over the past few years. It's been fun. I've been doing my own pod and the pod with you guys for a few years now, so I've been able to fucking talk about shit like this for a minute. And some of those guys like Jack Della Maddalena becoming champion. Other guys like Josh Van, who I've been hyping up, even after he lost to Charles Johnson, who's the Missouri boy, and I've been hyping up too. He hasn't gotten enough chances, in my opinion. That guy's still, been active. Give Charles Johnson another crack into the rankings, but hyped up Josh Van. Now he's getting a title shot. I think Kevin Vallejos down the road will be the same kind of thing. Just like Gian Silva, he's going to be one of those kids I've been talking about since the Contender Series. I think could potentially be champion worthy someday. He's got a lot of fucking potential. I'm excited to see what he does this weekend. Like I had mentioned, Estevam, I would have put undefeated. Kids look decent, but he's inactive, missing weight, kind of puts him off. I was going to put Azamat Bakoyev in there, but I think he got thrown off the card completely because of Finney's ass having to pull out of that fight. Finney, I like he's undefeated. I like his personality, but especially with that debut fight he had in the UFC, like 4 strikes in the entire fight. He got himself the win, but it was awful. It was an awful watch. I was going to put that fight in there as a whole, kind of, but in the reality, Bakoyev's the true contender coming out of there. We don't get to see that shit, though. We
Bakoyev
got
lost
not.
two different opponents for that fight. Finney was the replacement fight. Like Bakoyev had lost 3 different matches on this
Oh
fucking
shit!
card. So
I
yeah,
thought Finney was the original, and I
no,
thought they tried to
Finney was the
replace it and
second
couldn't.
fucking replacement fight. They had him originally booked. Who was the first one here? They had him originally booked versus Yusuri Belgori. And then he fell out, and then Finney stepped in, and then fucking Finney just pulled out last week. So yeah, Bakoyev had 3 different fucking matchups on this fucking card. They really wanted him here. It just didn't fucking work out.
Yeah, I think I heard too that they're just redoing that Belgori fight or whatever. The dude from isn't he from One? I think this guy from One
Yeah,
Championship.
he's one of the guys that they picked up from one championship, and that's what I
Yeah.
heard as well, is that they're just going to try and book the original fight all over again because that's what they really originally wanted. So I think that'd be good.
Well, one of the other contender fights I got this weekend, bantamweight fight, Rinya Nakamura and Nathan Fletcher. I've been talking about Rinya since he came on. I think it was the road to the UFC where he came off of. Um, Talked about how his dad helped, build Shoto and Pride out in Japan. So the kid's been a part of combat sports throughout his entire life. He's not as big of a star as obviously like Kyoji Horiguchi or Kaya Sakura, but he's had some serious cachet over in Japan. If the UFC ever made their asses back over there, he would definitely be able to help pull in some asses into seats. Um, he's a good, well-rounded fighter. He had himself a tough loss against a pretty good grappler in Muin Gafarov. I think Nathan Fletcher, he's a kid that's going to try to strike more, but he also is a pretty good grappler. Like he trains with Patty Pimblett and Patty's gym and all that shit. I think he came from Cage Warriors. I like Fletcher. Kid's 27, still really young too. Just this fight as a whole. Both of them have finishing potential. I think both of them pretty well rounded. I also thought Nathan Fletcher got fucking hosed in his last fight uh, against Kalen Lofgren. There was no way in hell Kalen Lofgren won that, but the judges gave it to him. That was a sad sight to see. I'm excited to see either one of them can bounce back, but the kid that wins that, puts themselves in a position probably going to get a top 30 fight next in that bantamweight division. It's a deep one, just like lightweight, but there's good potential there, and I like that fight. That's one of the fun ones to look forward to this weekend. Also, Brenner and Ribovics. Elvis Brenner has been thrown to the fucking wolves throughout his UFC career already, but I think the kid's still got some potential. His last couple fights, Joel Alvarez, for fuck's sake, and McDebeck Oralby. Like, those dudes are pretty fucking good, let's be honest. And now they're throwing him Ribovics, who's also kind of been through the ringer a little bit. He got himself a knockout victory over Terrence McKinney back in the day. He just lost a decision to Nasrat Haqparast. So, I mean, he got himself close to knocking on the door of the rankings and lost that decision to Nasrat. I'm excited for that fight. He obviously got the main event. Tatsuro Taira, Hyun Sung Park, the undefeated 29-year-old's getting a hell of an opportunity, getting bumped up to fight Steve Erceg first, and then they bump him up again because they need the new main event. Um, it's good shit. I heard this week too that the UFC apparently before they made that fight, they were working on some shit. They were trying to move Waldo Cortez Acosta up to potentially fight somebody else at heavyweight, and shit didn't work out. So Waldo's still fighting Sergey later on in the month, and that's why they pulled Hyun Sung Park up. Thought that was interesting. I still think they managed to work it out fairly decent in the end, but I think Tyra's the true contender. It's going to be a tough match for Park, even though I'm excited for that kid. It's just the experience difference there. Tyra's already been in the UFC a lot longer. This will be his 8th fight in the UFC, so it's just a rough thing to think that Park, especially on short notice, can get this win. To me, the fight I'm the most excited for, though, is co-main event. The Scott versus the Polak. Fucking Chris Duncan versus Mateusz Ranzbeski. This is going to be an unbelievable fight. I'm going with Chris Duncan this one. Vinny's been on Chris Duncan ever since he got in the UFC, just like Paul Craig. He's got that Scottish heritage. He loves rooting for the Scots. And Chris Duncan and Paul Craig too. I mean, Paul Craig at least is get or get got. He always goes out there, gives it his all, right? He goes out on the shield. But Chris Duncan has really been badass. He's lost only the one fight to Manuel Torres since he got in the UFC, and he's finishing dudes left, right, and center. He's looked good lately. He's on a 4-fight winning streak after that loss to Torres. He's been damn active. I like it. I like his personality and everything. I've been going against him in the past few times on Tapology, and I've been regretting it. Been getting my ass kicked on our podcast with our little draft that we do every time Vinny fucking picks Duncan, and I've been getting my ass kicked in Tapology not taking him. And I'm taking Duncan this week. It's going to be a tough one, probably the toughest fight since he got to the UFC, and it's really just because of what Mateusz has shown. That fight against Oralby last year, that was some shit. They both threw down. They beat the living shit out of each other, and Mateusz came out on top. He's got that Pollock power. And it's going to be rough, but at the same time, the old man Diego Ferreira caught his ass. So I think Chris Duncan can get his ass too. It's going to be a hell of a fight. To me, that's the best one on this card. I was more interested in the main event, even though Albazi was just going to try to grapple with Tyler. Like, we knew the direction. It was going to be a tougher test. And if Tyler could have beat him, and especially in a spectacular way, it would have been a lot nicer. But I like the Japan versus Korea matchup. Man, I'm really excited for the Scott versus the Polak. I'm sure for the most part you'll agree with me. We don't have TJ here for once. It is what it is. It's that hangover card. The card as a whole is kind of shit, but like I said at the very start of the podcast, I'm the UFC mark. I always try to be as positive as I can, just like I was a kid fucking loving on the WWE, man. I love what I love. I'm glad we get fights. You just hope it's one of them that surprises. We got those few that for sure should be good, but I also say that that's been happening a lot. Like, I saw the meme meter posted on his Instagram this week. We're gonna be sad fucking cookies if Tom doesn't get that win, man. We're gonna look like some serious assholes hyping that motherfucker up for as long as we had it. But that's fights. It doesn't. It's just like any sport. I do the same shit with football. We run our fucking fantasy league. I don't fucking win most of the time. You think you know things, but sports are sports, man. It's unpredictable. It's a perfect example of life to keep you humble.
Yeah, I've got to say, for the most part, you knocked it out pretty good. I've got to say, dude, the Japan factor on this card is fucking awesome. Between Rinya Nakamura and Tatsuro Taira, like, the Japan has a very strong showing in the UFC right now. Those two gentlemen are both kicking ass and taking names, and I think they're both going to continue to do so. I think Park is a good last minute replacement. I think this is a better matchup for him than the Usyk one was, a little tougher matchup. We'll get to see a little bit more about what he's actually got. But I think Rinya Nakamura, like, honestly, I confuse Nathan Fletcher with AJ Fletcher all the fucking time, and that's my bad because I don't fucking like AJ Fletcher. So I
Oh yeah,
confuse those two.
he's not worth a damn. Yeah.
No, I mix those two up all the goddamn time, and that's my fucking fault. But I've been waving that fucking Rinya Nakamura flag as well for a hot fucking minute, and I think these two boys are here to make a fucking statement Saturday night. I'm here for it. I'm not sure. I was a little unsure going in, but I'm really unsure now about how the fuck that Vieira versus Tresean Gore fight is going to play out. It really felt like Vieira was going to try and wrestle fuck him to begin with, but now missing weight by almost 5 pounds and then didn't even try to go cut again to try and get it back within reason. That says a lot about how his preparation for this fight went, in my opinion. And you hit it on the head. Vieira does not have a gas tank, but what he does have is a very dangerous first round in every fight that he's in. And Tresean Gore, for all of his strong suits, he's one of those dudes that tends to take the first round off, whether it's because he's analyzing people or because he needs a minute to get the gears really turning. Tresean is not really known as a fast starter. And that's kind of where Vieira shines here. So on top of missing weight, if Vieira can come out and really just try and steamroll, he could win this fucking fight early. This one could be over real quick. Trayshawn's not much of a one punch knockout kind of dude, and that's really the only problems that Vieira's really had in the UFC is he's got a real granite fucking chin knot.
Uh,
um, he's got the thinnest of fucking glass chins there ever was, and he's very hittable, but it takes a solid shot to give him problems. And Trayshawn's got decent hands. He just doesn't have that one shot problem power that could really stop Vieira, in my opinion. So I feel like this is either going to be Vieira steamrolling him in the first fucking round or a very boring, painful 15 fucking minutes to sit through as they both
yeah,
try to not weather each other out.
I think it can be like last week with the Badai and Buchecha fight. If we don't see Vieira get his ass early, or even Trayshawn get another lucky fucking finish like he's gotten in his last couple of fights,
Right.
I think we're going to get that slog fest like what we got last weekend, where they're just gassed after the first round and neither guy can do anything.
Huffing.
Just
Yeah.
grab a leg and then just let go of it immediately because you're just like, oh,
Because
you
there's
know what?
no
Fuck it.
yeah,
What am I
gas. Yep.
doing? I'm too tired. I don't even want to try that shit.
Yep. Yeah, no, there's a lot of potential for that. If Vieira can't get that first round finish, I think this one's gonna be a long 15 fucking minutes for sure. There's a couple of fights that are kind of flying under the radar here that we'll talk about more in just a minute that Vegas sees to be way more exciting potentially than we thought. So um I I'll put it this way. I don't have a problem with the Neil Magny versus Elizo Zaleski fight. I have a problem with it being on the main card. These dudes are both like stereotypical fucking journeyman, middle of the road UFC. Like, this is almost guaranteed to be a 15-minute slog fest. I'm not mad at the fight. I'm just mad that it's on the main card. Like, we're only back in Vegas for 2 more weeks, and they're almost trying to keep it from being exciting while they're back in the apex before they go back on the fucking road again. Um, I'm curious very much about Rebovich versus Brenner. Brenner came in with a lot of hype, man, but it seems like they just thrown him to the wolves every fucking time, and he just gets his ass handed to him. Not for lack of trying, but it just seems like they mismatch him every time out. And now Rebovich, who seems like he is on one hell of a fucking tear, doesn't seem like Brenner is really on his level here. So I'm curious if Brenner can hold the fucking wave back or if Rebovich is going to keep that fucking tide rolling here. Um, Co-main, Co-main's got a lot of questions. Those dudes both could be a lot of fucking fun, but there's no real telling here. There's no real way to give any kind of an indication of which way this could lean. Both dudes only had 2 fucking losses in their whole fucking careers. So both guys are still pretty young, pretty fucking high on the prospect list on both sides there. Curious how that co-main plays out. The main event, though, I've heard a lot of people in the last couple days since we got this fight announcement say that the style is going to be a problem for Taira because Park is such a heavy grappler with such light striking, and Taira is almost the other way around. He's such a heavy striker with light grappling when he needs it, that people seem to think that because Park is undefeated at this point, that he's going to come in and he's just going to steamroll Taira. And I don't fucking see it, man. I think it's going to be a pretty fucking good match. I don't think this one, I think this is going to be a decision. I don't think either one of these dudes are coming in here really ready to finish the other. I think they're going to match up fairly well, skill for skill. They both have very good fucking gas tanks here. 5-round main event, bright lights. We'll see if it has a factor to play, but I don't think either one of these dudes are finishing. I think this is going to be a hard 25-minute back and forth, but I think Taira is going to come out in the end. I think he's got just a little bit more experience. He's got a little bit better, well-rounded corners, in my opinion, on his skill sets. I think Park has got some good grappling and he's got some good fucking skills, but I think Taira's just a little further ahead of him in terms of development right now. But I think it's going to be a good main event. I think they're going to go back and forth, and I think it's going to be a fun one overall.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. On Tapology, I think I'm taking Tyra by sub, mainly because of the fact that time off that he's taken after his loss, I feel like he's worked on a lot. And then he was planning on fighting Albazi. He knew that
He
motherfucker was
knew.
going to try to wrestle.
Yeah, he
So
was
he's
already
probably
prepping
been
for it.
working on syncing up some sort of slick ass submission. Kid that's had a short notice setup here a couple times now. Like it was short notice to fight Ursig, and this he even admitted it in media day. He has had no camp to prepare. Park is just going off of his skills and instincts, so that's kind of tough. That's the biggest reason I lean into Tyra. Like I had said earlier, that extra experience in the UFC and knowing that he's been preparing for a fight, he's going to have a game plan. It's always fucking tough for dudes to go in there and take a dude on short notice. You always give them that respect for doing it, love them for saving the fights as a fight fan, but you always kind of easily lean towards the guy that's been training and been ready for the fucking fight. We'll see how it shakes out, though. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciated. Excuse me. So normally this would be the point in the show where we throw things over to TJ and he talk about all sorts of shit, but TJ's not here because life happens. So I'm going to cover some of TJ's stuff for this evening here. So if you will, the only segment that does require its own disclaimer. Tapology.com in no way, shape, or form supports, sponsors, or endorses the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology does let you go onto their site, make a free account, and make fantasy-style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups on there, so we made one. It's called I'm No Bookie, all one word, or Group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcomed and encouraged. Make yourself an account, join the group, and let us know who the hell you are, and we will hold your picks accountable with our picks in meters time tonight. So, that being said, first things first, before we get into all the fun shit, last week was the final round of our I'm No Joe Summer Grand Prix on Tapology. 96 total picks made throughout the course of, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. Come from the bottom here. Stepping on his dick thoroughly, but still staying over 500 with 51 and 96 correct, 3105 total points was Don. Just above him was myself with 54 of 96, 35 exactly points wise. Vinny was just above me with 60 of 96 with 35.85, beat me by 50 fucking points, bastard. Just above him was Christian with 57 of 96 for 3,700 even. And then the winner, who wasn't even here to give himself his pat on the fucking back, was Golf Tee with 64 of 96 total correct for 43.20 points wise. So definitely what did we have? Almost 1,200 point gap between the top and the bottom. And then TJ just clear up and ran the fuck away with it there at the end. Had Christian by almost 600 fucking points over the second place. So definitely well played by everyone involved here. It's going to be a couple more weeks, but we will have another I'm No Joe Grand Prix coming up here. I'm aiming to get it started before the end of August. Worst case scenario, we'll kick it off in the beginning of September for the Fall Grand Prix as soon as the UFC does their next event drop, I guess, announcement, so that we know for sure the dates that we will have cards to book against. That being said, we do have some odds for this weekend's card as well here, and because TJ's been pulling from weird sites, I decided to pull from a weird site myself. Today we are talking about the odds from Bet365 over in bloody England here over in the UK. They have got fairly similar odds to the other places that I checked before the show went out today. There are a couple odds that absolutely fucking surprised me straight out of the gate here. Felipe Boons versus Rafael Estevam. They have got Boons coming in as a plus 400 to an Estevam's minus 550. That kind of breaks my brain just a little bit. Money to be made potentially here. I don't know. We'll see how that one shakes loose. The other big one that they have got here, John Giannis versus Austin Bashi. They have got Giannis coming in as the underdog at a plus 500. Bashi, according to Vegas, a minus 700 favorite here. So the odds makers seem to agree with Chris here. Bashi is set to fucking run away with this one. I believe that is the biggest odds difference on the card itself here. Yeah. The Bashi versus Giannis is the biggest odd difference on the card. Lots of coin flips, as you would imagine here. The other big one here, Fletcher versus Nakamura. They've got Fletcher coming in as a plus 300 underdog, Nakamura as the minus 400 favorite. Kind of the way that we see it as well. A little closer than I might have seen it, but I get that. But they're on the same page as us for the most part here. Vallejos versus Silva, another big one. They've got Silva coming in as a plus 350 underdog. Vallejos is a minus 450 favorite. I did not think the odds were going to be that wide on this fight, but seems like they think there is some money to be made here on this one for sure. Let's see. Then we've got our co-main events. They have got CLD coming in as the plus 187 underdog to Rebecca as the minus 225 favorite. And I would have probably thought those odds would be flipped the other way around coming into this, but they've got Rebecca coming in as the favorite here and Duncan is the underdog. Kind of interesting. Definitely a potential little money to be made there. The main event, kind of how you would imagine, kind of how all of us have kind of thought it was going to be. They have got Hyun-Sung Park coming in as a plus 275 underdog to Tatsuro Taira coming in as a minus 350 favorite. It's close. It's not a blowout, but the odds seem to be pretty much aligned with how we feel for the most part this fight is going to go. Little strange to see that even after the weight miss that Esteban is still the big betting favorite. So, definitely if you are inclined to throw a little coin at the fights, there are some odds here that you could potentially make a little money on. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode here. There are, let me double check here real quick. So, oh my goodness. As we were talking, Logan Storley just lost the PFL finals to Thad Jean by unanimous decision. Thad Jean is the $500,000 winner in the welterweight division for PFL, and Jesus Pinedo got triangle choked out in the 5th round to lose his final. So PFL is over. Let me check over here real quick.
That makes me happy just because Logan Storley's such a boring fucking fighter.
Yeah. Like I'm not mad at
Gene. He's still young and green, but the fact that the kid has been able to get past Jason Jackson and fucking Storley throughout that tournament, the kid's got some potential down the road. If
he
PFL could
got
ever
something.
pull their head out of their ass, get away from the tournament side of things, and put the best fighters against the best fighters, like take that kid and start putting him up against motherfuckers like Paul Hughes or fucking AJ McKee and the big names you got and shit, and see how good he really is.
The kid said he wants to be the face of PFL. He wants to stay there and make his career there. So it's time to start putting that kid against some legitimate fucking talent, man. If that's what he wants, it's time to fucking give it to him and see what he's really capable of.
That's the only thing that's cool about that for me. I definitely did not want to watch the fucking fights tonight because the last time that I did a month or so ago, it was just horrible. Fucking production value and everything.
I was going to say, they've been on for like 6 fucking hours today, and I think they only had 9 fights or 10 fights on the card. And it legitimately has been like a 6.5 hour event.
Yeah, that's the thing I hated the most about it. It's just like the pacing.
PFL's
I hate
UFC
with that most of the time. Like we always have to wait too long between one fight after another with the UFC. But God,
right. Yeah, PFL's production value is hard to fucking slog through for goddamn sure.
Most of the time too, they just fucking pan at the cage.
Yeah,
like
they
don't
just
even
show
have
the
ads.
stale screen.
They don't run ads or anything. They don't run promos. They don't have somebody at a desk to talk about the next fight or anything. And fucking here, let's stare off into the fucking ether and just wait 5 minutes.
Yeah, PFL is gonna PFL for damn sure. But that is all we have got for this particular episode. So if you enjoyed what we get up to around here, we generally try and do these shows pretty much every Thursday night when there are fights to talk about, generally around 9 p.m. ish Central Standard Time here on YouTube and over on Twitch dual streaming now, youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe or twitch.tv/I'mNoJoe, either one, live on both places here. The replay does stay up and live if you want to catch that. Please make sure you are subscribed and your notifications are turned on. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't catch the replay, I understand we also own mirrors, and for that exact reason, the week after we go live, we put the all audio version up on anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe. You can pick it up to your podcast consumption platform of choice. Google, Spotify, Apple, you name it, they're all there. It's all free. If you really like what we get up to around here, the best way to help us out is going to be patreon.com/I'mNoJoe. For as little as $1 a month, as much as you are comfortable giving, you help us do what we do around here. And in exchange for your awesome donation, first and foremost, we put your name on the end of every broadcast on this channel to let everyone know how awesome of a patron that you are. Secondly, and more importantly, for helping us out at any level, we give you unrestricted access to the behind the scenes, unaired and unairable content. All the fun shit that we get up to that got us kicked off OnlyFans, our supporters get to still enjoy. So that is there, and we appreciate that at any level, whether you pay, whether you come free, whether you watch, whether you listen, we appreciate you just the same. The other side of that coin, though, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast that you didn't enjoy? Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, when we wrap things up around here at the end of the night, that is not the end of the fun, because most Fridays, this gentleman, wait, no, he's over there. This gentleman over here and his other half will drop their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over there on Spreaker.com. You can catch the link to that, whether you are watching this or listening to it, down in the description. Their podcast, their social medias, and their channel over on the I'm No Discord server, all down in the description as well. Go click on it, tell the boys how awesome they're doing.
Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, with the crazy week, fucking up my phone and kind of locking myself out of a majority of my old accounts on most things. It was a little bit of a bitch to get shit done, but we got it done, you know. It got it done really just before we did the pod with you. Did our pod, uploaded it, went, got something to eat, got to do this pod with you tonight. Normally do them on Thursday and shit with you, but, you know, worked out the way that it worked out this week. It was a good time. I'm glad everything did work out. So yeah, Friday mornings, most of the time you can check that shit out, and the fun never stops. I know he's taken the past couple weeks off, and then life's been a little tough for him this week, no different than us. Hope the brother gets back to getting his ass in gear and life eases up on him. But every Wednesday on Hump Day, the brother TJ, you can check out his show, The Foggy Fairway, on his YouTube channel. Golf T Vapes, no different than the name you see every time he's in here with us. Give him some love, show him some support, and all his stuff should be in the description as well. Of course, brother as well. I mean, he's always doing shit tons of things. He does a lot more than the podcast. It's kind of why he's got that tag. The meter does many things. You check all of his links out, check everything out. Brother Meter does as well. Show the boys some love.
Much appreciated, sir. Much appreciated. Yeah, if you do get up to the Devil's Lettuce, my main channel covers that exclusively, and I actually went live. I got the wife to even go live with me this afternoon talking about the latest cannabis cult competition pack for flower that's going on right now. If you are into that sort of shenaniganry, definitely check out the other channel. The Linktree/Meter Does Many Things will be in the description wherever you are getting this. Twitch users, I'm talking specifically to you guys. As of right now, Twitch does not get the Meter Does Many Things video. It is just I'm No Joe. So if the Twitch users who are watching this would like to see that Devil's Lettuce shenaniganry from the Meter Does Many Things channel, you got to let me know, because as of right now, that is not getting dual streamed. That is just getting the I'm No Joe goodness. But you could be lucky enough to get both if you ask for it. So let me know. That being said, that is all we've got for this particular episode. So until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what